Anita Sinisvet and George Woodard, married December 8, 1934. This is worn by Anita's oldest great-granddaughter, Anna Lindruth. Anita was the mother of David Kim and Anna Pendleton. Anita died of breast cancer 11 years later at the age of 36, and her husband, George, was remarried to Nancy, who helped to raise those young children. Anita was a dancer, even appearing with the Philadelphia Orchestra. It was lent to us by her oldest granddaughter, Shari Pendleton. The silk satin dress has a cowl high neck collar, empire waist, fitted sleeves with points at the wrists, and 10 covered buttons on each hand. The back features a triangular inset, flared wings, and a piece that extends from the neck to the end of the train. The underslit is also of silk, and for a garment that would not be seen, is amazingly fitted and designed. This next dress is Carolyn Simmons and Corporal Carl Sonneson, married January 22nd, 1944. It's worn by their great niece, Rebecca Simmons Mendel. This dress is silk satin and features a fitted bodice, 3 underbust tucks, a contoured asymmetrical waistband with puffed sleeves fitted to the wrist coming to a point above the hands. There are tiny gathers at the hips and a 6-foot train. They had 4 children, Sven, Eric, Sig, and Kirsten. Her daughter, Kirsten Sonneson, also wore this dress in 1972 when he married Lincoln Forrest Schilberger. Lawson and I had fun looking at different passages and using them as inspiration for details in our wedding, such as the fabrics used in my dress. I love to see how many people have been inspired by these same numbers and how different and beautiful each of their applications has been. This dress is made of linen with silk embroidery. The embroidery colors are the same as those used in the tabernacle. The embroidery images include doves, hearts, olives, grapes, and wheat. The overdress and train are made of silk saris. I used the sari border for the gold belt. From Ezekiel, I clothed thee also with embroidery, and shod thee with badger skins, and I girded thee about with fine linen, and covered thee with silk. The dress was designed by Elise and Lori Horan. Elise made the dress. She made Nathan's jacket, and the trousers were professionally made. Annika Fitzpatrick is wearing the dress today. Each part of our wedding garments were chosen because of their representation based on our research. At the time of our wedding, this was our thought about them. The red and white of our garments represents the marriage of good and truth, and these in the church are conjoined to the Lord. Nathan's suit is red wool representing that good, and my dress is china silk lined with cotton, with silk chiffon sleeves representing that truth. My dress has an embroidered waistband designed by Martha Gyllenhaal, depicting 5 different kinds of tree blossoms: pomegranate, almond, grape, palm, and olive. The blossoming of trees is in keeping with the state just prior to marriage, and is the voice of joy and gladness of the bridegroom and bride. Since Nathaniel and I were only engaged for 5 months, I tossed out the idea of making my own dress and was very pleased to find this one. We watched Sound of Music while we were engaged, and Nathaniel told me he wanted my veil to look like the one in the movie. I loved knowing what he thought would be nice and had a great time shopping for veiling with Aunt Karen and making the veil with Judy Sinisvet. Our daughters love playing dress-ups in the dress, and while it looks a bit bedraggled, I love for them to have such a happy association with it. I had been designing my wedding dress my whole life. It had gone through many, many incarnations, most of them puffy and white with lots of lace and Victorian frou-frous. When the time came that Lucas and I were courting in 1997, none of them felt right anymore. I have a fondness for the vivid imagery in Conjugal Love and was inspired by 22. I made the dress of white linen with embroidery around the bottom of the skirt and sleeves. The bottom of the skirt is very full, and it took a very long time to embroider. I tried many designs for the red mantle and had a hard time coming up with something that I liked. Instead, I ended up with a tabard, or open-sided tunic, made from red and gold jacquard tied at the waist with a gold-colored sash. These are the clothes we wore at our wedding in Gwangju, South Korea in 1998. I was introduced to the new church by David. He talked a lot about the new church. Is he a potential minister? And what he said made sense to me. I never had a religion before. We had a new church minister, Reverend Kwok, for our wedding. These are traditional garments called hanbok and are made of silk. We had a Western-style ceremony with a traditional Korean reception. These garments were custom made for us. Unfortunately, none of David's family were able to visit Korea, but my friends, my hometown village people, and family members, including my 100-year-old grandma at that time, all came to celebrate our wedding. It was fun for them to see David dressed as a Korean bridegroom. My grandma loved David and called him Dae-Soo-Ban, bridegroom David, even before we got married. She passed away to the spiritual world at age 102. We have such a sweet memory of her. Serena, our daughter, is wearing a traditional Korean hanbok as well. The bridegroom's garments are a white linen tunic and pants with a purple wool crepe robe and a gold silk sash, all made by Carly in the fall of 2002. The bride's garments are a linen underdress with white embroidery and an overdress of jacquard with gold lacing down the sides. Attached is a mantle of red silk velvet and gold silk lining. All components were designed and made by Nina King in the fall of 2002. The bridesmaid dress is white satin with a silk chiffon overskirt and sleeves and a red silk velvet sash. The crown is made of gold wire and rubies. The bridegroom, now the husband, represented the Lord, and the bride, now the wife, represented the church. Because in heaven, nuptials represent the marriage of the Lord with the church. That is why he wore a mitre on his head and was arrayed like Aaron in a robe, a tunic and an ephod, and why the bride, now the wife, wore upon her head a crown and was attired in a mantle like a queen. But tomorrow they will be clothed differently, for this representation lasts only today. After the nuptials, both together, the husband and his wife represent the church. My dress was designed by Monique Lullier for her spring 2006 collection. It is called Countess and is made of silk satin in a color called sherbet. I tried on this dress originally as a joke. It looked so funny on the hanger with big flowers drooping off of it. Once on, I knew I was in trouble. I was in a very fancy salon and I was enchanted. I tore myself away and magically that very night I found the same dress on eBay. A woman in DC named Louisa Solarte sold me her wedding dress and Anina King fitted it to my size. I ended up with a dress that was more decadent than I've ever